so it's 02, 03. This one's 03. This has a built motor in it. Has a Link standalone ECU. And it's been a while here setting it up. Don't have a whole lot of time today to run you guys through all the setup and stuff. There you go, get the chat up. But yeah, so it's an 03. It's got a 2.5 liter with forged internals. It's got the S20 heads on it, which I absolutely hate that it has the S20 heads on it. That hurts my soul. Major missed opportunity there to put some ABCS heads in it and gain a ton of performance as well as an improvement in idle quality. Right now, idle is 850 to 900 RPM, and it's still not great because it's got big injectors on it and big cams in it. I say big, but I think they're GSCs. Not on my sheet, but doesn't matter. Doesn't really matter because it doesn't change what I'm doing here at all. The only thing that would change really is whether or not I push the red line really high or not. I don't know. I think I saw Wiseco pistons maybe on the build sheet, which is a bummer too, or maybe that was another customer that was here. It is. Found it. Stop looking. Oh no, it's IAG hybrid long block. So that's good. At least it's an IAG build, which means they fixed the compression ratio. I assume that means they did the chambers. I still wish it had ABCS heads though on it and not the 2-liter heads. It's got an ETS front mount intercooler kit with the titanium piping, which is really expensive and pretty. It's got ETS headers on it, so it's gonna make a butt whack of power and not be limited by that. Let's see, I guess someone's saying it's about the volume. Let's see if I can turn that up. I'll try that. I hope it doesn't peak too much. So it's got ETS headers on it, so it'll have no issue capping the headers out like a Killer Bee header or factory header would. High power exhaust. The high power exhaust actually has a little bit of restriction in the muffler there. It's a little small at the very, very end of the muffler, which is kind of a bummer. I actually bought one for my car, went to put it on, and was like, what? Nope, didn't put it on. DOM1.5. It's got a weird fuel system in it. It's got a radium surge tank, which is great, but it's got 2 Bosch 044s, which are shit. Like, my garage, I'm a hoarder, right? I'm a bit of a hoarder, and my garage has a lot of stuff in it. But if I found some Bosch 044s sitting on the shelf in my garage, I would just throw them away because they're dumb. Like, they're huge, they're loud, they add a lot of heat to the fuel, they don't flow that much, they're not good pumps anymore. That is so like freaking 2002. I would dump them. He's got 255 in the tank. He's got braided fuel lines, and he's got some radium fuel rails. ID 1300s, which is nice. It's got the Cobb SF intake. I have the mass airflow sensor in it, but we're not using that for the fuel calculation. Right now we're using speed density. Because it's got a blow-off valve on it. Oh no, it's a bypass valve. Oh, well maybe I can use that. What else we got? ATI crank pulley, Mishimoto X-Line radiator, which unfortunately is not an upgrade. It's got Killer Bee oil pan, IAG AOS, which is cool, but it's a comp, so opportunity missed there. And we put flex fuel on it. It had a Delicious kit on it. We stripped that off and just ran a straight sensor to the ECU, because that's all you need to do. I don't know how his fuel pumps set before, but it seemed like they ran all the time. So I rewired that crap before I put on the dyno because I don't want to hear 2 fuel pumps going all the time. So now they're hooked up on a separate output and they're controlled at the same time as the other fuel pump. So it's good to go there. And that's it. I spent a bunch of time getting it ready. I feel like it needs a fuel pressure sensor because it doesn't have one. But that's about it. So here we are. I did 1 pull so far. Calibrated the tach, worked on the VE map some in the cruise regions and idle and all of that. And then I did a pull. And it's lean at 12 to 1 at 10 PSI. So is it really lean? Yeah, 10 PSI, that's nothing. The question is, will it richen up as I give it more? So we'll find out in a second. But I'm going to look at the log here real quick. because I want to see if how the knock sensor was. Hooked the knock sensor stuff up, but I only did one adjustment to it. And according to this, it was really loud here at the top at 5,800. It got really loud. Now, again, I don't know if it's actually loud or not. I gotta look at the log for timing and see if it was just too much or not. 21 at 6,000 at 10 pounds. That doesn't sound like a lot of timing. Holy cheese balls, my phone's bringing up the hook today. Hello? Hello? Alright, how you doing? The what? You know you're calling a cell phone, right? Like a personal cell phone? This isn't a business or anything. Yeah. Gotcha, sure. Okay, bye. Wants to help me with my website or something. I mean, yeah, my website sucks. I'm not giving you any fucking money. Alright, I need to add some dwell there. I only had 2 milliseconds of dwell, so apparently I didn't just say, oh wow, I did not do that at all. Alright, that dwell needs to go. Oh, not that much. Nope, that was too much. There we go. Matt says he's surprised I'm tuning it. Well, I said a long time ago on one of my videos, I said bring all the standalones. I don't care what the setup is. If it's got a standalone, I'll tune it. As long as we can make it right electrically and everything. So, here it is. I got some other phone calls lately too from other guys that want to do some more tuning too on their weirdish builds. Alright, so is that noise engine noise or is that actual knock? So what we're going to do is we're going to pull a degree of timing here. Pull a degree and a half. And then I'm going to also add fuel. And if the engine noise is the same level, then that means I can play with some other stuff. I can sorry, give me a second. Alright, let's do it again. Oh wait, before I do that, let me double check what I was at. Okay, so my engine noise went to, wow, that went all up to 13. That probably was not. So 13s, 11s, 8s, 50s. All right. Up to 11.2 flat across the board, 11.2 on that, and boost was still 10 psi. Power dropped 7 horse, not surprised, but the knock levels absolutely dropped there. 300, 500, those look like more more representative values on this engine, so I got to bump the, I got to set 65 or 6,000. There we go. Let's do that. All right, that is that's much better. I like that. Okay, so now that I got what looks like an appropriate amount of engine noise on here, go here. I had my threshold really generic. So let's see, what do I got? This is full throttle, so I've got around 300 would be a good threshold. 325, something like that, at 4,000 RPM. So we'll do 345. And then at lighter load, it's going to be a little less, which is going to be 300. Do that. Down low here, I've got, wait, what? Oh, that's while I was holding on the dyno brake. Okay, I was like, what is going on there? All right, so we got that 55. I'm looking at 600-ish. So we're gonna start there. 650. That. Down low, looks like it's gonna be around 250 or so. Alright, so now I've got it pretty close to the engine noise that I'm seeing during that pull, with much more conservative timing and much more conservative fuel. Okay, so that's all good. Now I need to zero out my tables because they learned during that pull to pull some timing out. So I'm going to do the store again. I just did it. Turn the key off. Turn the key on. That'll zero out the tables. There we go. Alright, let's do another one the exact same without changing anything else. See if engine noise is the same or if I get a lot of extra noise again. Alright, you can see I was skating that line pretty tight there, but cylinder 2 is definitely louder than the other cylinders there, so it's possible that that could be an actual knock event. But I also, as you tell, I have the threshold really, really close to the engine noise, which is it's not a good practice. It's too close. But I am going to reduce timing again in that upper area there, as well as adjust this table here in the middle. It's not quite high enough, around 4. And then also I'm going to change the axes on this, because I don't like the axes being TPS on the left. I don't like that. I mean, one thing that does do for you, I suppose, is that sometimes when you throttle in, you get some rattles. And if it sees the throttle rate, then it could be desensitizing. However, it has that setting already right here at 10%. So when it sees a quick stab of the throttle over a certain percentage, it disables the knock system to prevent those rattles from happening. Now, that can hurt you though, because if you do have tip-in knock, then you're not going to protect yourself from it. But also, usually tip-in knock isn't extremely aggressive because it's usually at relatively low cylinder fill. So the energy that you would have in the cylinders is pretty low. So I'm going to change the axis on this. I'm going to go here to the y-axis. Right now is TPS. I don't want it to be TPS. I want it to be map. So type in map in the search. I don't think you guys can even see this now that I think about it. I don't think it's showing up on the window. But now you see here I got map on the left. Alright, now this is a hybrid, and hybrids have often a little too much shrouding the valves. I know IAG has a porting program that they use to enlarge the combustion chambers a little bit, and then also reduce the shrouding of the valves. But it's only so good. And I'm going to change it. Also, you still got these 1 degree jumps in here. 2 liters and 2.5 liters with the right heads and everything would take that 1 degree jump, but this engine will not. It will not take that 1 degree jump. So we're going to dull that down some more. I'll lower the timing again at 10 pounds, and that should give us a even better pull than before. It does run pretty good with this Lincoln here now. It runs a lot better. Oh, I say better. I don't know how it ran before. I never saw this car run at all, so I don't know. I know it feels good. Feels smooth. All right. Alright, so power dropped again with the reduction in timing that I made. Also, see I have 2 knock events on there. Well, 2 events that registered as knock events. Now, I pulled a lot of timing out. The fuel is still really conservative at 11.1, 11.2. And boost is only 10 pounds. So what are the odds that that's actually knock? It's getting pretty low. That one there is a little concerning because it did pop up really quick, and that one could very well be a knock event. I'm not as convinced about this one here in cylinder 1. However, power dropped dramatically, and it didn't drop because of those 2 little events, because you see how fast you get a time back. It dropped because I pulled a lot of timing out of the map, which tells me I am on the steeper side of the spark hook curve, and I should definitely be down below the knock threshold in this situation. So I'm gonna make a very small change, but I'm not gonna do much else with it in this area past that. Now, one thing with this Link is it sure pulls a lot of timing fast. Even when you take this thing, you tell it not to pull a lot of timing fast, it just pulls it all so fast. And I mean, I guess that's good for protection, but this engine doesn't need 4.5 degrees of timing pulled like instantly. It doesn't need that. So I don't totally get that. Alright, so we're good there. Now this car, like I said, I might have said before, it has flex fuel. Yeah, so we got rid of the delicious. Whoops, no, that. We took the delicious kit out because that uses the IAT and a bunch of other shit, which I think is asinine, and just plug this directly into the ECU, which you can't do obviously on the factory ECU, but you can on this. Table 2 is on like that. So this is the ethanol side of it. Very aggressive. I don't want it to be that aggressive anymore. export this table to the clipboard, to my pump gas table, and I'm going to paste it into my ethanol table, and you see how much it dropped. Now I'm actually going to add timing to it again, and add some timing to it. I'm going to add 3 degrees. Half 1, half 2, half 3. Let's go 4 degrees. Okay, I got 4 degrees in it for the ethanol. And double check, I have them. You look under here, dual ignition table, ratio table. Sure enough, I'm here at 0. Oh, that's weird. I thought my ethanol said that was 15% earlier. Where'd it go? Ethanol status active. Okay, good. They always hide it from me. Yeah, it says here. Oh, that's duty cycle 20. Oh. So it should be calculated then. C. Well, that ain't right. 9% ethanol, that makes sense, but definitely the 200 degree fuel temp. So that means I got something set up wrong in there. I think that's probably because I don't have the right pull-up resistor on it. Rising? I thought it was falling. No, it's rising. Okay. There you go, 57 degrees. That makes more sense. And that is definitely going to change my fueling because it was using 200 degrees as the fuel temp. Yeah, now we're lean. Well, that's weird. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense at all. If we were 15%, or if we were reading 200 degrees, that would mean the fuel would be less dense. We would need a longer pulse width to get the same amount of fuel in the cylinder. Then if I fixed it, it would shorten the pulse width. Oh, okay, you're right. The short pulse width, they get lean. Yeah, all right. laptop. I keep hitting other things. Alright, lambda target, lambda. We're pretty close. A little off right here at the onset. It's within 3% on the top. I like that. Definitely like that. Whoopsie, don't do that. Stop it. Alright, let's put the boost in it. Say 165 here, and full throttle. We're going to shoot right now for 14 pounds, see how it responds to 14 pounds. It won't do it there, but it'll do it there. Now we're going to set the wastegate duty cycle up. I don't know where it's going to be, right? We just don't know what it's going to be here at the bat. So boost target is 200, so I'm going to take everything from 200 and up, and I'm going to make it 15%. And then I'm just going to do this to the side. That's it. Super generic. That's just for so I can judge how much wastegate I need. Now I know that it does 10 pounds on the gate, so I know that the 160 something is right. So 160 is going to be around 0%, but I throw a couple percent on it anyways, so that it has the ability to go up and down if it needs to. So right here, 3 to 6%. Plus, most gates don't do shit less than 10%, so you don't get any change at all. So in this case, I would have a starting point close to where the gate starts to be active. If I leave it at 0, because oh, well, gate pressure is 0. Well, it's going to take 15% for it to go above gate pressure. So if I leave it closer to that toe point where action starts to happen, then that makes it easier for me. It is blue. Ashton, it's a blue one. It does sound good with the high power and I don't like the ETS headers normally for their sound. I like them for their flow. But with the HKS high power and the ETS header, it actually does sound really good. You're correct. It sounds really nice. You're correct. You're correct. Yeah, your opinion is correct. No, that's not what I meant. What I meant was I agree with you that it does sound really nice. And here in person, it sounds really good too. It's not something that the microphone on the laptop's doing for me. Now that boost is flat. It's like I'm cheating over here. Look at this. Look how flat that is. Here's the... God damn it, I hate when it does that. Here's map right here. That's technically gauge pressure, but here's map here. But you can see this one better. Nice and flat, looking good. Wastegate duty cycle got to 30%. I'm actually surprised it got that high, but it did. So 30%. Now I know that now, right? I know that my wastegate duty needs about 30% to hit 200. So we look here, integral was 12, proportional was 14, so we got 14 more % above our initial table. So let's take the load off of the PID system, and then bring it right to 30. We'll do 28. 28 for initial. I'm going to blend that back to the 160 again. And then I'm going to take that and just push it to the right. And I'm going to add a little bit to here. This is totally a guess, but we're going to experiment and find out. Alright. There we go. Let's look at our log. Look at our knock. Still pulls timing on us. We still got these little ventures now. Same cylinder 2. Alright, well I'm pulling timing out of cylinder 2. I keep getting spikes in it. It doesn't seem like there's anything wrong with the engine. I've already pulled so much timing that it's losing power. So I'm going to pull some out of cylinder 2. At higher loads. And then add a tiny bit of fuel to it as well. Because damn it, that one's being too loud. Alright. To cylinder 2. Cylinder 1 is going to get 1% at the higher loads. Alright, that's for fuel. And we're going to go to timing. Have to do on the fuel. I didn't have to give a table for 3 and 4 because it's just gonna be 0. So I didn't have to do that. In fact, I'm gonna go back and take that away because that was silly. There's no reason to utilize tables I don't need. There we go. Dustin asked what could cause so much timing you need to pull the one cylinder. Well, let's just say cylinder 2 versus cylinder 4. Cylinder 4's got a dog leg, it flows less. Cylinder 2 flows more. So cylinder 2 technically could be running leaner than cylinder 4. Cylinder 4 having less flow but the same fuel. So if 2's running leaner than 4, then it's going to be hotter, which means it probably needs more fuel. But also with more flow comes more overlap flow. With more overlap flow comes an increase in charge. Whereas like cylinder 4s have less overlap flow, more retained exhaust gas means less efficient flow. So on top of having reduced port flow, it gets less of a charge. So it burns cooler than 2 would.
Howdy.
Hi. That's fucked. Whose car?
Zach's oil cooler, external oil cooler sandwich plate. I remember Josh just kind of did the same thing.
Yeah, it's the parent.
Oh, this one's cracked, ready.
Is it ready? Yeah, I don't know why they keep doing that.
I don't either. to the OEM rings.
Right.
And I'm sure theirs is slightly different.
Yeah. How deep is the groove?
You can see the line. It's about,
Oh, it's that shallow?
It's about right here.
Okay, so
About 2/3 of it.
so when I'm making all my parts, right, and I put O-rings in them, there are required O-ring groove dimensions for an O-ring. So what I do is like, well, I have about this much room for this size O-ring. Can I make a groove that fits that O-ring? And if it's yes, then cool, I can do that. So we look at the sandwich plate and we back calculate. This is the groove that we have. What O-ring is it supposed to have? So we'll measure the O-ring, the plate itself, see how deep it is, see how wide it is, and that'll tell us what kind of O-ring it should have in it.
Like look at the factory oil coolers. The O-ring barely sticks out from the top of it, and
Correct.
this one's like halfway out.
Yeah, so it's the wrong O-ring.
Yeah. So I mean, even like, I hate to say it, but the glow ship sandwich plates are pretty good because they got a big O-ring that seats in there, and then they got a big like flat rubber surface that mates, so it's like it'll fit nice. And I've never seen one of those ones leak.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, just because it's a shitty brand overall doesn't mean everything they make is crappy.
Right.
You know, and really making a good sandwich plate is not hard if you know the correct method to size O-ring grooves.
Yeah, that's the problem from those that we stuff these O-rings in thinking that it'll fit, and they're not even close. Like
No,
Josh was saying, like he had half the gap, half of the O-ring, so when it goes in,
Oh, okay.
it itself out.
Right.
And this one did the same thing when Lane tightened it down.
Yeah.
I don't think, you know,
So measure the groove, width, and depth, and then of course
diameter.
diameter. And then we can back calculate that and figure out which one is supposed to be on there.
Oil on me somewhere that I
Your hand.
So, anyways,
Right.
figured I'd show you.
Yeah.
See if you could give me some rhyme or reason, but that makes sense.
Yep. Yeah, so just measure those things, write them down for me, and we'll get the right O-ring.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
Welcome, bud.
Is that 360 on pump?
Yeah, it's totally on pump. At
Pretty
15
good.
pounds of boost.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. It's surprising. But it's an IAG long block, so they've done their...
In the heads?
Yeah.
So they probably ported
Right.
something else.
And it's got cams in it.
I can hear it.
Yeah. It's like doesn't idle very good.
It does not sound very good. And you can't really adjust them because they're not ABCS.
Right. Well, I mean, it makes power, so...
It does make good power.
I mean,
it sounds good too, actually.
It does. Which is weird. ETS headers need to sound good, but combined with this exhaust and the small turbine housing, ETS header,
Oh yeah.
it normally sounds like butt. But that smaller exhaust housing combined with the HPS high power makes it sound really good.
Is that the silent power or the high power?
High power.
Sounds quiet for a high power.
Yeah, well, I think it's called silent high power.
Oh.
I think is what the exhaust is called.
Those ones sound good though.
Yeah, it gets down to 2.5 at the tip, which is why when I ordered one, I sent it back. I didn't want it.
We put it on Jared Bruder's car.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I regret it now though,
Yeah.
because
It sounds good.
I can put a fucking cutout on it.
Jared sounded really good when we put it on his 207 swap Bugeye wagon.
Yeah, his sounded good.
It sounds super good.
Yeah. Anyway, so I was saying, I caught all that. If that cylinder is getting more air for the same amount of fuel, plus it's getting a more complete charge, it has more overlap flow and better port flow, then it's going to have a faster burn with a bigger charge and actually need less timing. So not just more fuel because it gets more air, but also less timing because it gets more fuel and more air, if that makes sense. off the blow-off valve, which I knew was what it was. It wasn't very tight when I put it on the dyno. Sounds really good. Sounds really damn good. Yeah, I'm kind of uncomfortable about it. Alright, general log. I want to clean up some fuel up top. I want to add a little more fuel up top. It's a little leaner than I want it to be. Although my target is 8.2, it says it's running 7.77, but my read out the tailpipe does not agree with that. Well, you know, I've actually suspected the wideband on this dyno needs to be replaced for quite some time. And this is a brand new wideband. It's right behind the engine, and it's A2 is not rich enough though, is it? A2 seems yeah, it's 12.0. Why did it not rich enough? I thought I set the target richer than that. Maybe I did not. Let's go back. Oh, I didn't. I'm stupid. I didn't make it enough. So the 777 actually is really close to where I want it to be. So the VE map is pretty damn close. That's 11.4. So 11.2 would be like about 7.5. There we go. Add some more fuel to it there. And then what did I have for trim? It was actually pulling fuel out because it was trying to hit that leaner spot. So we'll see how it does there. Okay, that's good. Is really conservative, but it's what this engine wants. I'm guessing because it's the shrouded valves. Still made 363. I can't bitch about that. That's 16 pounds of boost. Okay. Let's look at the boost area. See what we got for wastegate duty. So wastegate duty is about 33%. The higher we go, the more we need. So do you need to flare it a smidge up with the RPM? That would be anticipated on anything really. That's too much. Do this. You know what? I'm gonna change this. To interpolate on that case because I want to do this right here. That go down a smidge like that. All right. Not to toot my own horn or anything, but I didn't do any of the VE mapping up top as far as verifying it on the dyno. I said this is what it should be. And I put it in there, made some small changes in the driving area, but the AFR is freaking flat. So I got it really damn close. The boost is really flat too. I might have a little too much on the boost PID though. I feel like if there was a little wave at the beginning, the proportional might be too high. Whoops, that's not right. The integral might be a smidge high, and proportional is probably a little high. So it's a little active. We'll see how that does. PIDs here and see which one was getting. Looks like the integral came in heavy at the onset, which caused it to overshoot a little bit. And the integral went away. Derivative helped out, but not enough. Okay, so a little more, put some derivative back in it. I pulled too much out. Reduce the integral some. And go back up my proportional. Like that. Alright, and then what else happens? It went really rich, which is really weird to me because I didn't change. I just changed the target. But look at that, 10 to 1. So that means what? Means my VE is too high. It's really flat still though. I can't bitch about that. It's pretty high, but it's just too much. God damn it. AC works in this or not. Let's try that, because I could use some fucking AC right now. Let's test the AC system, see if I got it set up. I don't even think I messed with it. Come on, there we go. Alright, first check AC request button. Let's hit the button. Okay, that works, it turned on. Car didn't stall. So that's good. Car didn't stall or nothing. I don't feel any cold air. If anything, it got hotter. It says clutch is engaged. Probably needs a little bit of a duty assist with AC on. Compressor's definitely turning, but it's not compressing anything. The air came out here hotter than it was. Alright, kill that. It's hotter without that fan blowing, or it's cool without the fan blowing. That's no good, but it works. Once he charges the system or fixes whatever's wrong with it. Alright, so I pulled VE out of that table. Let's do it again. So did you hear the boost? It was smooth that time. There was no wobble at all. It's a flat line. It's a flat line on the dyno. Let me show you the log. Flat, so I'm happy with that. Looks like everything worked correctly. Proportional or integral didn't go crazy down low like it's not supposed to. That's good. Integral worked up top like it's supposed to. I mean, it had some right here, but not too much. That was good. That was a by 10, which is great. I don't mind the boost overshoots a smidge. This turbo is going to do it anyways as you start cranking it up, so we get the little overshoot and a little taper. That's completely expected. I like it. Basically duty cycle 34. Started off, yeah, right here on 20 something or 30 something, 34. So basically duty cycle still really flat, which means we're still not set still a lot. Means we're not pushing it very hard yet. Let's look at the fuel. AFR was not as flat as it was before. So let's see how far off it. Whoops. Oh, this one. Alright. So we're a little richer than target. We're a little richer than target. A lot richer than target right here. At the onset of boost. And then it leans out to target. Closed loop. God damn it. Closed loop fuel control helping out there a little bit. See over here on the right I got negative 5% up top. About 0 through here. So need to pull some fuel out right here. The dyno shows the same trend. Need to pull fuel from basically 55 and below. The knock tables in case there was any learned trims in there. There was, we crossed the threshold right there, which is crazy because look at that. Hey, that's way better. Only 1.5 degrees pulled. That's way better. But I don't even see blue going over the threshold. It must be overlapped with the green. Interesting. Chat I missed. Sorry, I'm gonna go back and read those. Mud Skipper, can I clarify or debunk the myth of needing to run a tank of a premium every once in a while in a flex fuel car? If you have an FA, if you have an FA, they tend to have issues with the fuel pump, and it helps to do that. Regular cars, whatever. I don't ever do that in regular cars. There's nothing that I need to replenish, in there. So I don't know. I don't have any concrete evidence for you on that, but I know with FAs the fuel pump gets angry if you run too high of ethanol, and pumping it every now and then helps. I don't know if it's because the fuel pump has got a DLC type of fuel pump plunger and cylinder, and the oils and the gasoline get in that coating and hang out, provide lubrication for a while until they get stripped out. I don't know, that'd be speculation, but something definitely happens on the FA if you run flex for too long. 50% though, I wouldn't be worried about it. It's guys that run like 80%, they have to do it, or 80% of the fuel pumps start sticking and gumming up. So I think at 50% you're probably totally fine. All my FA guys run 50% fuel without running gasoline on occasion. High pressure fuel pump issues. But guys that run more than like 53 or so, they experience issues with the high pressure fuel pump. So if you're staying 50 or less, then you're probably good to go. I wouldn't even sweat it. 91 plus octane fuel. I mean, ethanol cleans too, right? You obviously get some sugar buildup. They call it sugaring, when you get the different buildups from the ethanol, but that doesn't happen so much on a DI car because it's directly ejected into the cylinder. So I wouldn't think that'd be an issue. Plus, ethanol cleans so damn well, being a solvent in itself. I don't know about that. Exhaust leak? No. The dyno has been off quite a bit, or I feel like it's been off. Like I've had most of the white bands in people's cars come in here and they read something different than dyno reads, and I think it's just that the sensor needs to be replaced. And I'm going to trust this link sensor before I trust the dyno. However, that being said, I need to ask Tanner where he put it. Ooh, that's a good horn. That's loud. If it's pre-turbo, then
Yes, sir.
where is the O2 sensor in this?
Right, like 6 inches past the turbo on the downpipe.
So it is after the turbo?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So good there. Good. Thank you.
It's in that upper bong.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I wasn't utilizing the pre-turbo sensor for AFRs and boost, and then...
The cam lambda one's right after turbo.
Perfect. Thank you.
Right where you like it.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you for remembering.
Up here,
Yep.
not under this, so it's getting water on it.
Yeah, dude, down the bottom sucks. That fucks them up all the time. Cool. So it's not that. So it would say it's definitely our dyno. I mean, I'm gonna trust that thing that far from the engine before I trust the one with the tailpipe. Especially, I mean, it's brand new link cam lambda we just installed yesterday. So. Jason said, tough to understand.
Emma here also.
Oh, Emma's here?
Yes.
Okay. How long has she been here?
She goes, you want to see if my car's legal to tune? Oh. When she said it.
Yeah.
Sure.
How long has she been here?
She just got here like
Okay.
a minute ago, so I'll let her know you'll be a few minutes.
Okay, just a couple. I see you fix them real quick. Okay. Top 3 reasons a stock STI bottom end starts knocking. Too much power, too much timing, too hot of oil. Too much timing pushes the rod bearings, squishes them really hard. Detonation will put pressure on rod bearings. It separates the engine block. If you get too much cylinder pressure at TDC instead of it happening a little while after, like 20 degrees after TDC, you'll start putting that force on the case, separate the case, which dumps oil pressure from the mains. Or just the oil's too hot, wrong weight, wrong viscosity. If you're running 530 in it in the hot summer, beating on it, wrong thing to do. Oil temperature is absolutely critical. So yeah, those are the big ones. Travis, most of the systems take the target into account when calculating fuel, because that's what the point is. I thought this one did too, so I tune it as if it does. When I reduced the target, the fuel also went leaner. So it followed the target, and that was even outside the range of the closed loop control. And then when I added to it, it also got richer. So I think that it does do that. I could be wrong. Typically, so Link has changed their fuel model a couple times. One of them is you put the VE of the engine in the fuel map, and then when you set the target, it looks at that VE to see how much it needs to hit that target. That's a normal modeled fuel map. That's how it should be. But they used to have it where it would overlay the target on the fuel map, so like you have to tune it for 11.5 and then tell it your target was 11.5, something really stupid like that. I think it was that the closed loop system was completely independent or something, I don't know, but it was a really weird way of doing it. I didn't like it. But yeah, most systems, you put the actual engine VE in there, and then you put the target, and it utilizes that VE to acquire that target. Alright, I'm going to look at this girl's car really quick. Basically, it has a lot of mods on it. She got it from somebody else, and I need to make sure that it's not a bunch of federally illegal shit. So, let me save this. Oops, I'm in the wrong screen. What is it? Interesting little dip in battery voltage right there. $13.9, $13.9, $13.4, $13.9 again. Come on, stop it. Oh, I hate it. I hate it so much. Alright. I really want to add more boost to this thing. Let's add more boost first, then I'll go to the car. Boost target. Go 20. I think 20 on pump gas is a reasonable request. That pull sucked. That wasn't very good. Boost went up, power went down. Now, I have a lot of time being pulled out in the higher boost areas, so I bet that timing was just way too low. Which I'm fine with. I don't mind starting off really conservative. I know I pulled a ton out of it before. Yeah, 6 degrees. Yeah, that's probably not enough timing. And 12. Yep, okay. So that's good. Boost was not bad. Boost is tapering though. That could be because the wastegate duty cycle now is not near high enough. Let's see, it started off high enough. So initially, the boost went over target at 22 pounds. I'll shoot for 20 or 22. And then it came down to the target. little below actually on the top end. Wastegate duty cycle climbed up to 72%. So that means we are at the end of the turbine housing. Now that doesn't surprise me because it's a DOM1.5. A DOM1.5 on pump gas making 4 in a wheel on this dyno would be a surprise. Yeah, so you see the wastegate duty cycle ramped up there at the end. We've choked out the turbine housing. If this car had ABCS, probably wouldn't be a problem. We'd be able to retard the intake cam, lower back pressure, and it'd probably hold a lot more boost to redline. But you see now we've reached the end of this turbo on the top end. We can still fatten the mid-range if we wanted to, but then we get a power curve that looks funny. So I need to fix the fuel. The fuel is too rich. Tweak the boost control a little bit, but we're not getting much more out of it on pump. And then add timing to it because it obviously was not enough timing. And I think that would get us probably 380 wheel on pump. Then we'll throw ethanol in it. Not a lot of boost to be added unless I want to just fatten the mid-range up. The car's got a 6-speed, so I'm not too worried about the torque being too much, so that's not a bad deal. And then we'll be able to add 40 degrees of timing on top of that. Probably pick up much power up top too. Probably finish off, I'd say 420, 430 wheel or something maybe. It's hard to say, but that's my guess. I also don't think I set up vehicle speed, not that that matters, but I do want to do that for the per gear wastegate duty that this thing has. I do want to check that. I know it was reading speed earlier, I just don't know if I have it set correctly for this car. And that's it. So I'm going to turn the cigar off, let it sit for a second, and then I'm going to talk to Emily really quick. Should take just a couple minutes. Let's see what her car's got. All right. Let's test this coldish start. Oh man, I bet that was not annoying or anything. Dude, Pro Sport gauges are the worst. Try again, there we go. I feel like the startup could be a little better. A little rough. A little lean right there. Oh, this ECU pisses me off. That was better. That was a lot less bumps. Still here, Travis. 40 weight. So oil weight is not really about horsepower output. Oil weight is about operating temperature of the oil and the clearances in the engine. Now as you raise power and you raise the BTU loading, the oil gets hotter. And when it gets hotter, it gets thinner. So if you step up to one grade higher, like a 40, then you thicken the oil back to where it used to be, or where it should have been. It's the best way I can say it without bringing out graphs and doing it in, over a few minutes. But 40 weight is the right call. 50 weight is too thick. A 2050 would be a huge mistake. Talk about not getting any oil to your engine. The viscosity of a 2050 when the engine is cold is like 4 or 5 times that of a 530. And it would just be way too slow at getting oil to the engine. It'd be very bad for it. Don't recommend it. And Travis, I'm at 20. You know I'm at 20. I even said I was at 20. Jeez, child's play. The turbo's done. Shit's over. I do need to figure out why the fuel's so damn rich. So I got 0.697. That's rich as shit. Target was 744. That's a better target. So we got the fuel table here. I got that spot marked. We'll see where we're at. Does my fuel table go high enough? Yes, it does. Alright. Actually, that I might have maxed out this fuel table, really. If I go right here to peak boost, I almost maxed out my fuel table. Look at that. So I should add a couple cells to this fuel table just to be smart. Now in this situation, if there are cells available for me, which there are, I will use the interpolate function. I will not tell it no, like I usually tell it no, don't interpolate. But I will use the interpolate function when it asks yes. It's just going to keep whatever trend that there was on these cells the same and just bring that trend out. Now, that being said, chances are it actually needs to go down. A true VE, if this is true volumetric efficiency, will be lower at 25 pounds than it is at 14 pounds. So do not be surprised when you see I'm pulling fuel out of this motor and you're like, what is going on? Because this is an actual VE that they're using for calculation. It will be lower. If this was the old traditional style where it's just a made-up number, which is just a percentage of the total injector pulse width, which is what it used to be. It used to be you put a number as your base pulse width, and then this was just a percentage of that. That model would increasingly go up because I'm always asking for more fuel, more load. This being actual VE, VE is going to drop. And look at this. This VE actually is really very flat. That's one thing about non-ABCS engines. The VE stays really flat. As you add boost, you start adding air, you increase back pressure, and you lower the VE. So it's really interesting to see how flat the VE is on this motor. And really from top to bottom too, with RPM, not just with load. Alright, so I need to add that, I need to add to that, and then I need to add to the timing, because I had that really, really conservative. I might need to add resolution on the timing map like I did on the fuel map. Let's see what we got. Nope, this one goes to 260, so we're good there. But you can see how swift of the drop off there is. Between 180 and 220, I had almost a 7-degree drop. That's kind of how I always start off with them. I don't want to do that. I want to do it there, right here. I always start off with them ultra safe there because I want to make sure that if a boost spikes or something happens in the meantime while I haven't fixed my VE map or anything like that, I want it to be safe. All right. Dyno says Rich. Let's see what the car says. I can smell it. Close. Okay, so we're really, really close at 4,000, but we're off up here. Now, again, I said before, we're maxing out the turbo, so we're maxing out that that turbine housing. So VE is going to drop like a rock. Oh, good, Travis. Hey, Travis, I got your text. Good job, dude. Proud of you. Alright, so with the increase in wastegate duty cycle, I have an increase in back pressure. With an increase in back pressure, I have a reduction in VE. So what's the fix for that? Do I just... Now this is this is one of those cases where VE is going to be affected by wastegate duty cycle, which means my VE map is going to be affected by not just what boost it makes, but what boost it's targeting. If the turbo is maxed and at say 45% wastegate duty cycle, it's at 18 pounds, and I add 10 more percent and it still stays 18 pounds, my back pressure is going up, my VE is dropping. So if I was to say drop 10% off my wastegate duty cycle right now, and my boost doesn't go down with it, then I'm actually going to lean out some because I'm going to reduce my back pressure on the engine. So that's one thing you got to keep in mind when you have a non-mass airflow sensor-based ECU, is that shit like that is always at play. It's always in play. All right, sorry, I saw something on this over there and caught my attention. So I'm going to pull some duty cycle out of it up top. Keep it from trying too hard up there. Then I'm going to go to my fuel table at that point. Let's see, my VE is 79. Actually, it's the highest place in the whole map that I have. Yeah, that's the highest place I have any VE actually, so we'll just dumb that down right here. Pretty much from right there. Alright, that should be a lot better. Alright, save that, hit that. But as I asked for more boost, it got more and more angry at me, so. Yeah, that's no timing at all. Alright, well that just means that on pump gas, we're doing less boost. It doesn't like it. It's trying too hard, and there's no reason to try and blow it up. Oops. Here, it's better. Okay. Let's boost. Now I need to set up my boost setup for 2 tables. Alright, so I enabled the other boost table. Now you see I have a second boost target. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy it over first. It's our first thing. We're going to import or export to clipboard. Then we're going to import from clip. No, I didn't hit that. I didn't hit that. Then we're going to import from clipboard like so. So that's our first boost table for ethanol. And then we're going to go do the same thing for the wastegate table. Now on ethanol, dude, it's pissing me off. On ethanol, we should require less duty cycle to hit the same boost target. typically what we get with ethanol. Super handy. I like it. But I'm gonna leave them both like they are right now. Work on the other aspects of it, the ignition table, the fuel tables, etc. Make sure those are good before I start trying to turn the boost up a little bit. You can't get much more out of it boost-wise though, as you saw. The darn thing is about maxed out. But we're definitely going to find out if we can max it out on this turbo at ethanol, higher ethanol concentrations. Alright, I think someone's here to talk to me. Let's see what's up. Let's see what this saucy boy does on ethanol.
See if it works.
Yeah. Okay, F12. I always forget where it's at. Where was it again? Digital, aux, PWM. How was it calculated?
If you're looking for, it's DI4.
44%.
Working.
Climbing.
I remember when I did the first plug of ethanol in my car at the house after I fixed the head. You like, pour ethanol on it. I was pouring in cars going, oh my, louder.
Did you change the exhaust note?
Yeah, it like completely coughed for a second, and then it was like, oh shit. She sounds.
It's like ready to do it.
Yeah.
Ready to do it. All right, let's see if we do some timing. Chunky right there. That spot was a little chunky. Let's go back to that. It's not adding fuel here. It's supposed to be adding fuel. Multi-fuel. Stoichiometric measure ratio is 9:1. It's a heavier fuel. Injectors still flow the same. That should be enough. Oh. Well, that's weird. That'll do it right there. Hey, look at that. Happy car. There it is. Hey, way better. Still off a smidge. Still off a smidge. Now, this is something that not a lot of people know, so we're going to do it real quick. Where's my fuel table at? You go, wait, what did I do? This blend ratio between the two fuel tables, I've got 100% at 40% ethanol, and it comes back down to 40% by 100% ethanol. Like, what? What's going on there? Well, I read a bunch of studies, been doing a lot of tuning, and I've learned that the VE goes up. The highest it's going to improve is at 40% ethanol. Below that, VE goes down. It doesn't go down less than the previous amount, but it drops off again. So the increase that you get in VE from the inertia of the fuel, from the cooling effect of the ethanol, and all those things helps it have higher VE. When you go over 40%, the cooling effect isn't as good anymore, so you're not gaining from that. And you're displacing air with fuel now because you're adding more and more fuel in. So the VE peaks around 40% and drops off after that. So just something that you should know. And you can see, look at my lambda right now, 0%. So I did it right. Butimus 403.7. 403.7. That was back at the lower boost of what was that? 18 pounds. Boost is flat. You can see through here, boost is nice and flat. Weight to cycle is only 40-some%. So that's all good. Those are good things. You can go. Man, I'm getting hungry. To my log. Fuel's a little on the rich side, but not too much. Look at it right there. I could probably pull some out. A smidge. Right there. Yeah, I can pull a little fuel out of it on that secondary fuel map. Only a couple percent. I added 10 off the bat just as a good initial starting point. And it was good for idle, but it was not good for up top. No, it's not good, but it's closed loop was going really slow. It's down here on the bottom right. Closed loop's at 0.5%, but it's not hitting the target there. It's because the gain. Oops, did it again. There we go. The gain just isn't there to get us enough. There's not enough integral on it. It's just a fixed gain, so we don't get enough integral action from it. That's where long term comes in. The long term acts as our integral. So I can take my gain control and I can add more gain at the 0 point so that it's more aggressive right here. Like if I just did 1, then it would be more aggressive down at least when you're closer to the target, which is fine. I can leave it there, it doesn't matter. And then the long term will enable that at the end, and that'll act like an integral for us for a long term fuel correction. Let's go to the knock page. Now look at that. With 55% ethanol, only a couple degrees of timing added to it, I have the same noise transients as I did before. Interesting. Makes you think that it's not knock. Only 14 degrees. Yeah, it's not knock. It's not knock. So now I got to figure out how do I quiet down that cylinder a little bit without picking up fake stuff. Clearly, I pulled a lot of timing out. It's not knocking at fucking 15 degrees with 55% ethanol in it. Octane's too high. The load's not high enough. It looks like everything actually is a little bit louder. Okay, so we're going to change the frequency on this. Typically, I run like a 6 or a 9 narrow. I'm going to try that, see if that changes this profile. I'm not going to change anything at all, even the pole. degrees at 7,000. Not a whole lot of timing. Power's falling a little more than it should, I think, over 7. I'm gonna add a degree at 75 and see if that helps any. That ramp I took out of it earlier. do, like I said, it would do more if it had AVCS,
Yeah.
but I don't.
I mean, four though is not bad for the setup.
No, it fucking rips. And the torque too. 375 pounds of torque to the wheels.
Pretty saucy.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
No, it sounds great. It runs good too. I can work on the post start a smidge, but otherwise it's pretty good. It's hot. AC don't work on this thing. So I did idle RPM based on engine runtime. I was trying to give it more flair on startup because it was starting just kind of, it wasn't going very high, it wasn't flaring at all, it was starting just kind of sitting, not running as smooth as I think it could. So what I did is I created an idle table, which you see here if I go down. The left column is engine runtime. So at 0, you'll see the idle target is higher. Then at 1 second, idle target drops, or by 2 seconds it drops, by 5 seconds it's down to target. That was just to try and keep it high. See, there's the idle target in the middle of the screen. I start it. Starts up, target drops. It's kind of big steps. I wish it was smoother steps. I don't know why it's not smoother steps, honestly. It's kind of weird. So then I did the idle position based on idle target instead of based on coolant temp. I did based on target because idle target's already based on coolant temp. So now when I start it, my idle is 1200, so you get 61% when I first started, and it's going to decay down to here. It's not that way from Link. That's just how I set it up. Usually it gives me really good idle control on it, and it just needs a little tweak right now. It's really close. It's really close. If I try this, just go long at 8 seconds. I think that makes it worse. Well, let's see. Yeah. It's gonna get any smoother with this crazy setup. Fucking hot as balls. Let's see if you guys are still here. I see some more questions I might have missed. DOM1.5 is overkill for 300 wheel. Yeah, I would do 16 GXT if 300 wheel was your target with ethanol. That turbo will spool so fucking fast, and it'll easily do 300 wheel, no problem with ethanol. On this dyno, I can get the 16 GXT to repeatedly do about 350 to 370 on a top mount. It's not that far behind the DOM1.5 for some strange reason, even though they rate it, you know, to be behind it, but it's not. The 16 GXT with an 8-centimeter housing on a 2.5 liter, it just works. There's just a balance that's achieved with that turbo, and it fucking rips. So, and it spools way faster than a DOM1.5. So 16 GXT on a 2.5 liter with ethanol, full boost at like 20-something hundred RPM, and you'll make 350 wheel easily on a top mount with flex. So I would go that way all day before a before a DOM1.5, and not the ball bearing 16G, the regular 16 GXT, $988, where the fuck it is, that one. The ball bearing one sucks. I would not get the ball bearing one. Harmonic balancer. Harmonic balancer is no such thing. I have a damper, a vibration damper, a torsional vibration damper. It is so basically right now the cost of materials is astronomical, and if I make the damper as it sits right now, it's going to be retailing at like $600, and I honestly think anyone's going to fucking buy it. So I've been going through some redesigns to figure out how the hell can I make it for not $600. I have some really good ideas. I've been drafting them up in SolidWorks and practicing with it. The core of the thing is the same as far as the chambers and the hydraulic system that I put in it. That's all the same. The weight is the same. All of that is the same. It's just different in how the housing is attached. Well, not how it's attached, how it's sealed, basically, and a few other things I'm trying to get. The other thing was my test one kept leaking, and I don't know if I goofed up my O-ring grooves like I was talking to Tanner about. I gotta check that, or what, but it just wasn't holding oil as good as it should, and that's obviously not going to be something anyone's going to want to fucking deal with. It needs to be sealed and reliable. So I was going through some changes on that too. The initial prototype was mostly just proof of concept to make sure that the design does in fact work, and it works very freaking well. As long as it keeps oil in it, it works very well. And knowing that now, I just need to get some of the other things figured out, how to reduce the cost and keep it sealed. So that's why I haven't seen any updates on that in a while. Also because I've been working on the AOS and the dry sump pump and the air water intercooler. I just got my 3D printer, so I'm going to be printing the end tanks with my 3D printer, and then I will be casting the end tanks, doing a lost PLA casting to make the first initial end tank so I can test for fitment and actual performance. That will be happening actually pretty soon. I have been working on the design the last couple days, and I got a new nozzle for my 3D printer, so I'll have a better print quality and time and all of that. So I also ordered the casting friendly PLA that should be here today or tomorrow. Might be here today actually. It's today or tomorrow. The casting friendly PLA is on order, so I'm going to test print it with colored shit, make sure it works and prints good, then print it with that stuff, and then I will be casting end tanks for the air water intercooler. I am not a fan of Tomei turbos at all. Trash, I don't know about trash, but I'm not a fan. It seems like you got to try too hard to make any power on them. I don't like them whatsoever. I think I've had one of them once that I thought behaved decently, but all of them seem to have there's something about it when you're in a car and you push the throttle down. It doesn't show on the dyno graph all the time, but it definitely shows in your foot and in the sensation of the car. With those Tony turbos, I push the throttle down and it feels like nothing's happening. And eventually they come in. We look at a dyno graph and it spools exactly the same. But of course it does, because it's not making any fucking torque, so it's not accelerating the dyno. So, because these dynos are ramp rate controlled, they're not fixed weight controlled. So, anyways, I don't like them. I don't like them. There hasn't been a single one that I've been like, wow, this is a good turbo. They're always like, it's a turbo. I mean, it might as well be a fucking $150 Chinese GT30 off eBay as far as I'm concerned. I just don't like it. I think actually the eBay GT30s would do better than that turbo, honestly. Alright. How do I get this idle a little more stable? It's hard to do on something that's got cams like this. You got to see, what's causing it to oscillate. Do I have too much authority on my idle control motor? Is my idle position changing too rapidly? Is it the ignition advance or what? So you see idle position here, it's pretty small changes. That's a pretty big change there. That might have been a little fast. So I don't think I like it going that quick. My integral. So what I want to do is I want to reduce my integral so that it doesn't go as fast, so the position doesn't change as much, and I want to rely more on the ignition advance. So I want to rev up, come down, and then settle slowly, and have the ignition advance be the dominant factor on my idle control. And that's a little better. I like that. That's better. Now for these, they have a speed lockout for the idle control. I turn that off. I want it to always try and control idle. If I'm ever at no fucking throttle, regardless of how fast we go down the highway, I want it to try and control idle. As soon as I give a little bit of throttle, idle control turns off anyways. As soon as the map pressure gets above a certain value, it's going to turn off anyway. So I don't like the speed lockout. That's something that you need to use if you don't have vehicle speed, or I'm sorry, like neutral position or a map lockout or other things like that. Sometimes you might need it if you have a car that gets a lot of vacuum in a parking lot and it cuts in and out of idle control when you're trying to move the car around. That can be problematic. But the best fix for that is having your main timing map aggressive enough that there's no dips, no low ends, nothing like that. So I think we're good. I think I'm happy with everything the way it is now. Idle control stabilized a ton just by doing that. I really like how that is. And I'm feeling the weirdness that I had. It's lowering the integral definitely gave the ignition advance more authority. It's weird the ignition isn't on here though. That's weird. This gauge here, look how like fuel consumption. This thing should be idle advance. Like that. Get rid of you. Don't want you. We're gonna go. That. There we go. Now you can see how fast the ignition is changing to control engine speed. It's pretty quick. And you can turn it way down. Like here's my proportional gain. Oh, that's not it. That's for the... No, this is it. Yeah, this is for the idle ignition control. Derivative is kind of high too, so I can lower this down a bunch if I wanted. And then it does just proportional. It doesn't help compensate for changes in speed. So like right here, it actually wasn't terrible. So if I lower behind me now, basically 14, 15. It's not as big of a swing, and then it comes down and hunts around a bit. Yeah, see that? And you can go too big and cause hunting too, or cause audible changes, audible misfires, because this thing now will swing from the top to the bottom of its authority really fast. So there's zero, see how fast the zero instantly, and now it's like swinging around. So you can make it too big, and it might be more stable on the RPM indicator, but you'll have audible indication where you hear it popping and making noise like it is right now. No. No.
You say no?
No, I said no.
Oh.
So I'm done anyways.
Oh, you're done?
All right. I think that's it. I think we're good. I'm gonna come in tomorrow and do a Friday, do a cold start on it and see how it is, and make sure that it's still good through that.
I shut the back fans off.
Yeah, we're good.
Cool.
The fights went in for that. Nice, dude. Right on. Thank you for the $1.99. Yeah, I think that's. I mean, that's a cool head, man. That's a cool head. I know it's just 8 valve, but they're perfectly vertical. They're perfectly vertical. It's really cool. And the cam sits right on top of them. Now, granted, there isn't quite the aftermarket support that there is for some of the 16 valve heads and all that kind of stuff, but they're just cool. And I need to get a video of Spencer's car so you can see it. His is a lot of fun. He's actually selling his other Volvo too. He has 2 Volvo 240s. He's selling one of them. It's an unmodified. It's not a built one like a built. It's not built. It's a fucking stock motor with a turbo on it, mega squirt, and the trans. I'd say, like I told you before, the trans and all that shit was probably the most expensive, but that was cheap. So, anyways, guys, hey, I'm done with this car. It made 404 wheel. I tried pushing it up top. Nothing happened. You may have saw I pulled the time back out of it again. I tried to unboost the top. Didn't do it. It got a little more in the mid-range, which is good. Fattened the mid-range up a little bit. But overall, maybe I'll show you. Let me show you. Oh, fuck, this bitch is hot.
I'll clean all that shit up tomorrow.
See it. Can you see that? It's a good curve. It's a good curve. And this laptop is so hot, I am concerned for the battery. That's pretty warm. Yeah. So that's a warm girl right there. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna call it quits. I am hot as fuck. My brain's out. This room is hot. It's late. I'm hungry. I'm gonna go get some food and come back in a couple days and see how this thing cold starts. So, have a good one. See ya. That was weird.
You can do it.